Christopher Ridley did a Challenge Cup game, collapsed small. What happened, Sean?
Penalty try, yellow card.
Yep.
What does that remind you? Wait. It reminds me of something. It's on the tip of my tongue. It reminds me of... Can't remember the game.
Stad Mayo. Oh, you remember that, guys? Sharks, can they ignite for the final charge?
I don't think they're going to ignite, they're going to suffocate and strangle.
Go back to the John Smith one quickly. That's like 75 kgs ago.
That's a couple of buffets ago. John, you have to tell me what my punishment is.
Oh, really? Do I have to?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very disappointing for you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Boks Unpacked. We are virtual, but we are still in the mother city. No Caprice, no Scaliano, but Schalk Burger, the birthday boy, and Jean Deville has joined me for another episode of Boks Unpacked. First things first, Scala, happy birthday. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Shimmy. Thank you, John. I've been in contact with you guys already today. 43 years young, guys. Nothing planned. Weekday, kids at school, maybe for early dinner, a couple of lagers, who knows? But yeah, definitely no celebrations. It's a quiet one, Shimmy.
Scala, nice what I would say, you did you just say maybe a couple of beers? Is there really a maybe? Is there really a maybe in that?
Okay, I'll just confirm. Definitely a couple of beers. 4:00 this afternoon. I think I'll be roaming around the Newlands village looking for a place to have a beer and a couple of mates.
Nice.
I tell you what, Scala, talking about the Newlands village, Friday was a good turnout. I mean, Francois Lowe, yourself, Justin Malk, a couple of people poured in for a Friday afternoon. John, you will know this. This is southern suburb stuff. You know, and Paarl, you've got your own mafia there, but this is the southern suburbs mafia was out.
So we went for a quick little lunch. Shimmy joined, Malky joined, Francois Lowe joined. They were getting on it. And my boys now know where Shimmy parks his car, and they also look at it. So I went in to watch some hockey. My oldest one was playing hockey. I left there at like 7:30. Taking account this lunch started like at 12:30, school pickup, and Shimmy's car was still there. So my youngest one was like, Shimmy's still having beer, Dad. Do you want to pull and stop in for one? I was like, no, I'm going straight home. This is not my party to be at. Yeah.
But it is amazing because, I mean, you mentioned that you were watching hockey, and then from the hockey kind of you either free beers or whatever. So I was in Pretoria this weekend with Paul Jim traveling there. So I watched my daughter play and all of that. But I mean, so I think that's the lekker thing now. The age we are at, relevant to the birthday today. And also not forgetting, Shimmy, it's your birthday on Friday. So we won't forget about that. The viewers will all send you messages. But
you know where to find me.
Yeah, yes. But it's like you see so many of your old friends, old teammates, whatever, you play, your kids go and play sport. And then suddenly the opposing team, there's a dad, there's like a guy you used to play with, and that inevitably, you sit down, you have a chat, you have a beer. I think it's that whole sporting environment where it's again also that camaraderie that you now have, but on a totally different level.
Yeah, and the airport was all Paarl Jim. I flew back after that game at 5. I think hop was 5 flights, and it was actually quite nice to see the amount of parents. The SAF Air check-in gates, it was just all Paarl Jim students there. And obviously, Jean, I've got to mention the big victory. No one lost to Naji College this last weekend. But, well, Paul Roos lost to Stellenberg, and well done to Paarl Jim beating Affies. Stellenberg's beating everybody.
They are beating everyone. I mean, it's a golden year for them, so already in terms of the scalps that they've had, I thought that would be a difficult one for Stellenberg. I think the fact that they played at home definitely counts in their favor, but a fantastic victory for them against a Paarl Roos team, a really strong Paarl Roos team. So, yeah, the Stellenberg success story just continues.
What about the Stellenberg supporters club? Like, guys, I didn't even know was at Stellenberg. All of a sudden, changing. I mean, I thought the oak was in Boysa, and all of a sudden he pops up and going like, listen, okay, ek is Stellenberg local. Of ek kan swear I was in Paarl, but then all of a sudden he goes, okay, I'm in Stellenberg. They're popping out all over the show, and apparently, they're playing a warm-up game against the Springboks because, that fortress that is Stellenberg home ground is impossible to play at. I mean, there's some external factors which we won't mention, but apparently no one's getting a victory there, not even the Boks.
Look, they haven't played Rondebosch yet, so wait and see. Quickly, guys.
Who did? No, who did? Who did? Not quick one. Who did Rondebosch play this weekend?
Look, it was drama. The biggest upset. This was bigger than Toulon beating Glasgow. We lost to Weinberg. It's massive drama.
Shami.
I mean, this is
Drama
what
all the way.
happens.
Rondebosch
every
losing to
year.
Weinberg doesn't happen.
Every year there's drama in the Rondebosch ranks.
Don't worry, Stellenberg are still coming. Chaps, let's talk about the golf last night. Look, Arsenal let us down, Scala. Man
Yeah.
City let us down. Well, Chelsea let us down also, but Rory McIlroy, I think the fourth person to go back to back with the Masters.
Geez, but it's stressful, eh? I mean, how's his start? You know, when he made that
Yeah.
double and then the bogey straight off, I thought he was gone. And, you know, the last couple of days, he was obviously fighting a few demons in his swing, which doesn't make it easier. But his short game, it's such an underrated, you know, part of his game. You know, like even what he did on 18, what he did on 17, what he did on 16, those up and downs is unbelievable. So, yeah, congrats to him, but this shows how hard those majors are to win. You know, he was 6 shots ahead after 2 days. Everyone goes, this is a walk-in for McIlroy, who's going to win his 6th major. And, you know, with 2 hours of golf to go, he's 2 behind. You know, he's 2 behind Cameron Young, and you think, okay, there's no chance he's coming back from this. So all credit, some proper BMT. Obviously going down 18 with 2 shots, with a 2 shots lead, that's way more comfortable than a 1-shot lead.
But Scala, it's also, and Shims, like it's easy to now say, yeah, he almost choked and, you know, Saturday was hard for him and Sunday the start and all of that. But I mean, if you go back, you know, let's just celebrate a little bit what he did on Friday. Because I mean, that run that he went on and the you know, the shots that he played, and also that stat that was shared, you know, in terms of driving accuracy, the guy that finished 91st was ranked 91st in driving accuracy, and the guy that was ranked 90th in driving accuracy was Rory McIlroy on day 2. You know,
and he's first, not only first, he's first with 6 shots.
Yeah. So a lot of what you said, the challenges that he had on Sunday, you know, it was already there, kind of evident on Friday, but his ability to make the shots, make the chips, make the putts back then already, I suppose shows the quality of the individual. And look, he had his downs, but when it counted, he was able to make the shots and get that win.
Yeah, Bob Rotella has obviously helped him quite a lot, eh?
The what?
Bob Rotella. Don't you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Are you honest?
Honest.
Yeah,
no, that's a sports psychologist. Helped him get it over the line last year. Didn't you know that?
Oh.
Everyone knows that.
A guy like that wins 4 straight out the bat. And then he sits still, and now you think, okay, maybe he can win another 2 this year. You know, that's the type of form or type of belief he's got at the minute.
Yeah.
I just find it's stressful to watch.
Stop with his stupid comments of people that we don't know.
Bob Rotella, everyone knows who he is in Ireland. He's a sports psychologist. He helped him get over the line last year, and he's been working with him, obviously talking about the big moments. I thought you guys knew your golf. Anyway.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, like last night, there was like 6 hours of big moments. I mean, poor Bob Rotella must be absolutely shocked today, man. He must be a broken man watching McIlroy trying to finish that thing off.
Guys, but Shimmy, you mentioned Ireland, and I'm not going to mention Munster. Shay Lowry. Let's just talk about that holy one.
Oh, jeebus, that was incredible.
I just love the little celebration, the little shaky get back.
No, but I felt sorry with him when he hit that bunker shot, and he tried to hit out the bunker, bounced off and then went backwards. I was like, that's him done here.
Yeah, I know, makes double. Well, that's a hard hole, whatever. It's number 5, I think it is.
Chaps, look, it's just sad news. We all know about the legendary Chippie Solomons. I mean, probably one of the saddest days in Stormers Western Province rugby. The late Chippie Solomons, a guy we knew well, you know, the team manager, one of the greats in rugby, actually, one of the great men in rugby. Sadly passed away last week, Friday. But chaps, it's a sad moment for a lot of people whose lives he's touched. But one of the greats in rugby, one of the great managers, and he'll never be forgotten.
Yeah, Shim's like, you know, I was actually also at the airport when I on the way back home when I saw it on News 24, and I just couldn't believe it. You know, I had my wife with me as well, and I was like, you know, we got to reach out to Paarl as well, Chippie's wife, and it's just so surreal. You know, if you and then immediately I started to think, all the times we were there at the HBC and, when we were still playing and you'd go into Chippie's office and I would just go sit there and chat with him or you need something and you sit there and you chat um, and he really was. He was so much more than just a team manager. He was such a big part of who we were back then as the Stormers. And obviously, I'm not in that environment now, but I'm sure it's still a big part to play now. But even more so, a big part in terms of that father figure, that mentor for guys that are much younger than him now. And he will be so sorely missed. But as you mentioned in your words as well, Shimmy, such a big legend of Stormers rugby, Western Province rugby, and without a shadow of a doubt, he'll be massively missed.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking news, guys. I mean, the amount of time we've spent with Chippie, not only Chippie, but with Paarl, whether that was in the Boks post-rugby games at the old Newlands or in his office, like John said. I got news of it quite early Friday morning. And he's gone way too soon. But upon reflection, the first things that stand out is what a great man he was. And then you start thinking about great memories you had together. Back in those days, 5-week tours, every Wednesday there's a press conference and you go sit in Chippie's room. Always like the manager's room was quite nicely kitted. And he knew I couldn't fathom doing these interviews on Wednesday evening. So he always had 6 beers lined up for me right next to the telephone. And, it was just the nicest evening. You do all the media guys you don't really want to talk about because inevitably we have been on losing streak on tour. And, it's such a nice place to just sit and debrief with Chippie. And there was no favor too big. Sometimes he'll give you that little headmaster stare. And you think, oof, I don't think Chippie's going to buy into this. But eventually he does. And he does it all his way. Absolutely amazing man. Great rugby man. But more importantly, for Western Province and Stormers, an incredible loss.
And it's also kind of like even now with the super sport work that we do, if we do the Stormers games, the older we get, the bigger that gap gets. But it was always that constant, on there next to the field, there's old Christopher. And you'd go up and you'd chat, and it's like it's like he was it's like you've never left, and he was always the same, and just condolences to Paarl, to Chad, to Nina, the family, and it made me think as well. You have these brands, you have Stormers Rugby, you have Western Province Rugby, and so many times it's the it's the players, it's the guys in front of the camera that you see, it's the coaches. But it's people like Chippie, it's people like Brian Peterson, it's people like Cabone. Those are the guys that makes the brand what it is and makes it tick, makes it special. Yeah, so special human being.
Yeah, especially me. You'll certainly be missed. I mean, the legendary speeches that he used to give, and that headmaster tone he used to come with, but. He had such a soft heart, he'd give you gears sometimes, but whatever you ask for, he'd get it across the line. So it's going to be an emotional week, I think, an emotional game for the Stormers, for the players, for everyone at the HPC. But it just shows it's a tribute to Chippie Solomons, who will always be remembered. Western Province rugby and South African rugby. So condolences, like Jean said, you said that very well, to the family, to everybody in the rugby fraternity, and Chippie will never be forgotten in these parts of the world.
And Shimmy, let's hope he gets the send-off that he deserves at that game on the weekend. I hope they make a massive thing about it because, he deserves that.
Yeah. Chaps, just before we move on, I've got some... Jean, you remember once you came with magazines with, I think, a picture of Scala, an old one?
Yeah,
so I've got some ones that you might like, the old Sports Illustrated. So have a look at this here.
Ooh. Ooh. Is that little Brent Russell on the left there?
Brent Russell and Barney with a lot of makeup on. Check out this one. Yeah, I've got a couple.
Oh, Big Joe.
The big Truity one. I mean,
go back to the John Smith one quickly. Is that that's like 75 kgs ago? Like,
that's a couple of buffets ago.
Yeah.
Okay, look, look at this one. Yeah, look at.
Oh. Oh, Ryan Reynolds.
Those are classic.
Scala, you like this one?
Oh, Yakalas, look at him. Yeah, that is free to pay. That's still with his original lid.
Yeah, his own hair.
His own hair.
And here we go. And the finale.
Hey, there we go.
Men
I
in
remember
Black.
that one.
The profile doesn't work there, does it?
Give me my
Yes,
jersey.
Johnny.
Found some of these and a whole stack of these, and I thought, let me just pull them out. Quick one, Scala. Your birthday parties. You've had some big celebrations in your life. I remember the 40th.
Yeah.
The 40th was the big one. That was at Forries. I remember that.
It's the most recent one. And you know you're in trouble when you send out 265 invites and 264 reply within 2 hours that they come into your party. So it was a small little 40th birthday for 264 of my best mates. It was more like a reunion than anything else. And we were in Forries, and thankfully we managed to get like that outside section, and we built a beer garden. And then it started there, didn't finish there. It was an amazing event, loved it. And then we came to my house, and then I remember putting my wife to bed at like, say, I don't know, 2. And at 5, she woke up in a gown and walked straight into a brandy and Coke.
Yeah.
And then we basically just kicked on till, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. It was a good 40th. Hence, I've got to take some time off to recover. I'm still in the recovery phase, Jim.
No, that's big. You know, it reminds me of, remember after the British and Lions, I think, Jean, you might have been there. The first test we lost in COVID.
Yes.
And we're all depressed, and we ended up at your house. And before we knew it, it was 5, 6 in the morning. And everyone was leaving. We're just talking about the game and this and that. I think also none of us had seen each other in a while, and we just sat at your house in the kitchen there having beers.
And the weirdest thing is, like, you know, like the producer after the first test match said, we must keep quiet because like everyone can pick our voices up in the stands. You know, that's how bizarre it was. You know, if you said, you know, great tackle, all of a sudden it was going through the microphones onto the international feed. So I think we were just hungry for some debriefing and some company. But like, yeah, I don't know. It was almost like being stuck in a casino in a time warp that evening.
Chippie, you talk about reunions. Did you guys see the All Blacks, the 2011 and 2015 All Blacks? They had a bit of a reunion celebrating.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I didn't watch it in
the
detail.
Victories. Yeah, that's pretty. I also just saw some of it on social media, but that's pretty cool. And they wore their club jerseys to the event, I think. And that's something where again you get together and you see old mates and you talk about the old days. With our 07 group, Scala, we've always had the issue that we try to do these reunions, but like Frans Steyn and Ron Pienaar never stopped playing, so you can never actually get.
Bismarck kept on playing, like they were 40 and still going.
Yeah, but they have the same issue because they were having
their invite.
They were having their reunion, but my nonny was still playing on the weekend, so missed out.
I was about to say, geez, that's obviously our ilk. You know, what a team they were. So shame, eh? They weren't talented at all. I mean, that's like, that invite list is like the Hall of Fame of international rugby just pitching up for a quick get-together.
Yeah, it's a big one. Chaps, let's talk about New Zealand rugby. What's going on with the peroxiding of the hair? Did you see Burden Barrett's hair?
No, I didn't.
It's gone fully blonde.
Oh, really?
Have a look at it now. Just go have a look at it on your phone. But the New Zealand, I don't know whether it's a trend or it's the trendy thing now. But all the guys are dyeing their hair blonde.
I thought Frosty Tips was back in the early 2000s was a thing. It's obviously this 25-year cycle has come back. But yeah, I don't know if the peroxide on Beauden Barrett will look good. I thought he was quite a clean-cut looking act.
What's the worst haircut
it was more. No, so I thought it was more also for back in the day when the two of you still had hair as well. Yeah, but it's fine.
Guys, big one. Faf de Klerk has re-signed with the Cheetahs.
Talking about hair?
Yeah, talking about hair, blonde hair. He's re-signed with it. Interesting though, but good for South African rugby to have him back. And for the Cheetahs, to be honest with you.
That's unbelievable. He's obviously been doing a decent job over in Japan. And straight back to the Cheetahs. So the Cheetahs is a massive signing, and I think for him it's obviously being closer to not only his family but his wife's family up there. So it's unbelievable when these players come back in the value there. You think of Ruan Pienaar when he came back and hence we couldn't have any reunions because we were still playing at age 40. So, all the best for Faf and welcome back.
Cool.
Yeah, I also
Guys,
think it's fantastic, Shimmy, that am I also allowed to comment or are we just
No,
gonna
you
move on?
can. No,
Thank
go.
you. Thank you very much.
Can you change the top, please? Thank you. Yeah.
Can you change your attitude, please? Can we? I think it also shows. So I think it's brilliant that he's back in South Africa, and as Callum mentioned, the value that he'd be able to add to that group, but also to South African rugby. But it also shows the quality that we have at 9 at the moment at the other unions, because I think he probably would have looked at the other unions as well, the other franchises, but at the Stormers with Kobus Reinach there, with all the depth that they have, Asad who's coming through, Imad Khan, at the Stormers. Then you go Bulls, you have Ambrose Papi playing really well, a couple of others behind him. The Sharks have got 2 Springboks in their ranks. The Lions have got Morno van der Berg, Nico Steyn over there. So, in that position where I think a couple of years ago we probably would have said, yeah, who's next? Suddenly we've just got a plethora of 9s at the moment.
Yeah, and also with his experience, what he brings back, it's more than the playing on the field. It's the mentoring role. It's a bit of coaching. It's a bit of experience. So it's something that the Cheetahs do need. Guys, we need to move on. Our We Buy Impact player. Okay, incredible rugby action over the weekend. Our We Buy Impact players of the week.
Ooh.
I'm going Ignacio Brex.
Yeah, Brexy. Nacho Brex.
Sorry, Nacho Brexy.
Ignacio Brex. Yes.
There's no one else really, yeah?
No, that was a standout for me as well. But also, what's his name? The 9 of Northampton? With that flick on pass. No.
Yeah,
For Northampton.
The take and yeah. That was very nice.
That was a very nice one for me as well. I mean, that game in itself, and I'm sure we'll get to it, but I mean that was just a phenomenal game of rugby. But yeah, that would be my other suggestion for the impact, the We Buy Impact moment of the week. Archie McFarland, that's his name.
Archie McFarland. That was sexy piece of skill. That was just so slick. That was amazing.
Cody from Paarl has sold multiple vehicles to We Buy Cars. Suspicious? I think so.
Is that a crime?
No. Where are you getting the cars?
I buy them and I sell them at the spot like a normal person.
Okay.
No, man, I'm just an accounting student. I know a good deal when I see one.
That's Excel meant. What's more stressful, tax season or selling a car at We Buy Cars?
Tax season, obviously.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Let's start with our Investec Champions Cup review. So Bath versus Saints, boys. One of the skill level there was something else.
How mad was that game? I mean, 20-0 down, 21-0 down at the wreck. If you want to be highly critical of Bath, it will probably be their defensive intent. I mean, that try that we just explained there, that's just an amazing start, and the skill set to sort of soft hands it and pass it without, breaking the momentum of the backline starter play. But then, the first try of Pollock, it's a pick and go. You should never score off that. You've got to have numbers in front of it. Slytone's try off the back of a lineup, he handles Reed, another loose forward. He handles Redpath at 12. He runs through 3 people. For me, that's a little bit too soft. And you want to be highly critical of Bath's performance, it will be the defense. And then obviously you want to say lineouts. Their lineouts are super poor. But the fact that they came back and scored, I think that try just before halftime was unbelievably important for them because they had all the momentum going into that second half. But what a game of rugby. The intensity, the ability and the fortitude to stay calm and actually go, we'll tape this deep to 80 minutes as a Bath player and actually get the result in the 77th minute after leaking 40 points within 50 minutes is unbelievable. Absolutely loved it. Incredible watch. So much drama.
But also Schalk, like Shimmy, the Saints scored 5 tries within 28 minutes. So 35 points in 28 minutes. They didn't score a try in the second half. They only
Yes.
scored 6 points in the second half. So to your
Yeah.
point, Schalk, defense from a Bath point of view sharpened up on that in the second half, and then just their ability to come back and the kind of just the talent that they have within their side to attack, keep on attacking, be brave, and some of those plays, some of those tries were brilliant. I mean, those two teams, the way that they attack, next level.
But there's something about this Bath team for me that, they're slowly going about their business. There is something about them that I think they could do something special this year. I'm not calling it yet. I'm not calling it, but I'm close
Yeah.
to calling it. They could do something. I'm close to calling it, yeah.
The only issue is they just, they're sitting with Bordeaux Beglers in their semi-final. Yeah, it's just a small little issue, Shammy.
Yeah.
Look. I mean, there's a calmness. I always look at Johan van Graan. He doesn't show much emotion, even when they're going backwards. It's the same face. There's a calmness about them that I enjoy. I mean, you look at what is 4 or 5 tries at halftime, nice and calm, managed to get the lead. They're managing the big moments well. For me, it just shows, sometimes it's not perfect, but they've got that championship mentality. I'm not calling it yet, but I'm just saying, have a sniff around Bath, boys.
Yeah, you're right about the calmness. I listened to his post-match interview, and he was very process-driven, saying the right things. How do they go about it? He was calm at halftime, saying we've got to sharpen up in certain parts. But he said the way the players handled the pressure was the most important thing, is how they spoke to each other, how clear of thought they were. Because often when you concede 5 tries within the first 28 minutes, there can be some proper stress in that huddle. You can easily have guys going off task, or the captain's speaking and the one that's looking at the big screen trying to figure out, why he's missed the tackle, where everyone should just be on task and going, okay, how do you get a foothold back in this game? And hence that try just before halftime for them was massive.
Yeah. Henry Pollock, Jean, let's talk about him. Conceded, was it a yellow card? Or penalty, sorry, in the dying
yellow card.
Penalty,
sort of
yellow
stage.
card.
Is it a problem?
At
Is
the
it
end.
become look, the Bath crowd loved it.
Yeah. So I immediately thought that, here's a guy who's kind of the face of English, soon becoming the face of English rugby, but it didn't seem as if the Bath crowd were very happy and pro Pollock, So I think, he's still a youngster, okay? And there's no doubt that there's talent there. And he actually threw himself around a little bit, the ugly stuff. He was willing to put his head there in the ruts, get a couple of turnovers, etc. But you need to be able to control your emotions in those games, especially when games become as tight as that one on the weekend, because a foolish, and a simple penalty like that, and being able to, or having to play the last 7, 8 minutes of the game with 14, it costs your team. And there is a point to be made to say that he potentially cost his team the game because he wasn't on the pitch. He could have provided that X factor in the last couple of minutes, but he wasn't there. So I think with time, with maturity, he just needs to learn to control his emotions, make sure that you're clear in what you want to do, because all this other stuff doesn't matter if you don't win games and if you're costing your team games.
Can Bath beat the big French club? Bordeaux.
Oof. They've got a chance. I mean, the standout thing about that game was the breakdown. I mean, how competitive was that? There was so many turnovers. When that first half, it was almost every second ruck was a turnover. So if you're looking, you Bath, if you start the game like you did it against Northampton and you soft off the line and you're not really competitive in the physical aspect and they're scoring tries of first phase and getting gain line and quick ball at will, I mean, you don't stand a chance against Jalibert, Luku, Bire, Peno, the fullback. I mean, you've got no chance. So, I mean, but there's definitely chances there, to put them under massive pressure. Whether you've got the physicality to do that, because even like in the other, the Glasgow quarter, physicality was dominated by the French side, Toulon. And this, I mean, that's what they bring differently. And if we rewind a couple of years to Leinster when they had the big thing with La Rochelle, when La Rochelle decided to put them in the box, set piece battle, get into their 22 and grind a victory, it almost looked like Leinster didn't have that physical aspect to actually take it back to the French side. So I think that's going to be Bath's biggest issue. One is lineup, and secondly, it's going to be the physicality of that Bordeaux pack. Because this weekend, Bordeaux, Toulon, obviously, unfortunately, had a red card and then had a yellow card in the second half with Dupont's strip on close to the goal line. As soon as your number's down and that pack of forwards fronts up, you're in big trouble.
You know, Scala, you know what I really liked on the weekend, and with that Saints Bath game, and also with the Bordeaux Toulouse game. And even though the score in the Bordeaux Toulouse game, took a while to kind of get going, is the all-out attack approach from both these teams.
Yeah.
Well, probably, and maybe not all-out attack, but it's attack first. So if it's on, they are willing to keep ball in hand. And obviously the conditions in both those games played the part as well. But I mean, the bravery in keeping ball in hand, it just creates a spectacle that I think all of us enjoy to watch, where it's ball in hand, having a go, and then only if you don't go anywhere 2, 3, 4, 5 phases, then they kick the ball. It's not just kick first and then hoping for an attacking opportunity and keeping ball in hand when you get 30 meters away from the opposition goal line. That I really, really enjoyed, and the skill set of all four of those teams to execute and score tries is just amazing. But the standout for me, guys, Bordeaux, 945 kg pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
940. It's 118 kgs per person. Average.
And that's not even that's without Tamafuna being on the pitch. He only entered in the second half.
Yes.
I mean, then you're going to get up to 125 Ks per man.
So, Schalk,
that's ridiculous,
at your pick, what were you playing at? What weight were you playing at?
Yeah, 112, 113.
Well, there you go. And Chippie, I mean, you were even less, right?
No, mine was 105, 106.
Yeah.
But very explosive and powerful.
We're going to start looking at you funny now. Should we don't say that?
No, so
I'm
so
above my cap weight by far.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, like, you go on average 118. So, like, that is a beast of a pack. And then you look at the way that they throw the ball around, the skill set. It's brilliant. That explains rugby. That is rugby. I love the fact that you can have big guys, be competitive, set phase, but still throw the ball around, make tackles, get turnovers. Brilliant.
Guys, the big upset, Glasgow against Toulon. Number 1 seed, Toulon. I think they're 11th in the top 14. Not going well in the domestic front. The game no one called. No one thought Toulon were going to win this.
Sorry, Sham. Yeah, I actually worked on those 2 quarterfinals in studio. I mean, they weren't the same quality as the other 2, the Friday and the Sunday game. But Toulon was so impressive. We started the game. We also thought Glasgow is going to be, just a step ahead. But we didn't factor in that they're just going to get physically manhandled by Toulon. You take into account that Toulon probably shouldn't be there. Guys, Christoph Ridley did a Challenge Cup game. Collapse Maul. What happened, Sean?
Penalty try.
Penalty try, yellow card.
Yeah.
What does that remind you? Wait. It reminds me of. It's on the tip of my tongue. It reminds me of what? It reminds me of a game. Can't remember the game.
Oh, you remember that, guys?
Anyway, they get away with that. And they pitch up at Glasgow. Glasgow is dominating the URC. And they actually just physically manhandled him. The way they attacked was direct. I think Brex was exceptional. He's up against Tui Pelota, who's a great rugby player. But it was quite evident how easily they got quick ball, artificial pitch, quick ball. You just stay on top of the ball. And that's what they did. Glasgow, on the other hand, was so lateral, trying to run around the Toulon side with a decent line speed and just pick them off. Like often, French sides, they go there and you think, are they going to be up for this? Do they? They've just beaten the Stormers round of 16. They go to Glasgow, which is not a glamorous place to go play rugby, but they were up for it. Their physicality was immense. And I think that was the main reason why they got one over Glasgow. Didn't really have an answer. You think in URC how dominant Glasgow is when they get into your 22 with their maul. They scored one more try, but they had like 10 entries without any reward. It was a super impressive performance. Take nothing away from Albanos at number 10. I love the way he plays.
Yeah, you look at Baptiste Saron was good when he came on. You've got Dave Ribbons, Carl Sinclair, Gross, who's the French, Lucet, Charles Olivon. So
Yeah.
they've got proper that is a Drian, the wing, the fast winger.
He scored 2. He scored 7 in the competition.
He's rapid.
Jamine is fullback. Tuisuvu's wing. Set up a beautiful try. And who have they got? They got Olivon, have they?
Yeah.
He's an amazing player.
And Ribbons, I thought, was immense again. But it's not a bad outfit if they click and get going. It's not a bad outfit. You could be in trouble there if you're not on top of your game. And Glasgow probably offered a bit.
I think, Shimmy, of the four teams going into the semi-final, you're probably looking at Toulon saying that they're the least likely to make it through. But the way that they played on the weekend, shows that there are dangers. They've got the capability to beat the bigger teams. I just think it's a step too far for them, and they probably played their best game on the weekend. And to deliver on that again, I don't think will be possible. What I will say, though, is that French rugby is in a good spot at the moment. And yes, a lot of the names that you mentioned aren't French players, but if you take what Toulon has in terms of French players that they have, plus then Bordeaux, plus then Toulouse, they're in a good position. And you mentioned, Scully, Tuipulotu versus Brex. How about Luku and Dupont's little rivalry on the weekend? And Luku probably came through that better than a Dupont, it becomes interesting.
And then on top of that, Hintermark and Jalibert. I mean, those two guys.
Same thing.
Yeah, they were pretty much leading the running meters. Both flavs. Proper attacking threats. Hintermark, I think, was really good in that first half. Obviously, second half they got a little bit suffocated by Bordeaux's paper forwards, but that was impressive performance by both those flavs.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that game now. But let's just go on to it though. But in terms of Maxime Luku, now with the French, for example, they're going to send their B team on tour. Come Six Nations next year, would Fabien Galte could Dupont start on the bench and he play Luku based on form or to develop depth? Because if it happens remember the drama when Dupont got injured last World Cup. You know what I mean? You want to try avoid and almost have scenario planning if it does happen again.
But I mean, we've already mentioned, you've mentioned Dupont, you've mentioned Luku, we've mentioned Baptiste Serran. Legarac is still there. So if you're talking about a B team, maybe that is their thought process in saying, well, okay, we're gonna send guys that we believe will form part of the World Cup next year, but they're not first choice now, but we want them to get a little bit more experience, and maybe that is a thing. I don't know whether we see Dupont. Only time will tell.
Yeah. So the French clubs have won 5 out of the last 5 Champions Cups. 2 French teams in the semis. Which one do you think will go win it? I think Bath have still got a way to go, but can Toulon win against Leinster?
So I'll also go. So I just want to again mention the other 2 teams, and I said earlier the 945 kg pack. It's not Bordeaux; it's Toulouse that at the 945 kgs. Bordeaux at 920, but
the lightweight, the mobile pack.
The smaller pack, the smaller pack. I just can't see. So Leinster Toulon at the Leinster's kind of they've got an easy route at the moment to the final, but I just don't see Leinster firing the way that they normally fire. They don't provide the threats that they normally provide on attack. They don't have the same kind of flow in their game. Even defensively, you've got lapses. We saw Edinburgh scoring a couple of tries, the week before, etc., etc. So I think that Leinster will be too strong for Toulon, but I think the favourites will probably be the winner between Bordeaux and Paarl.
Yeah, Leinster's funny at the moment because they don't have great form in the URC, and they also don't have particularly great form in the Champions Cup. You think at the Edinburgh game, going in halftime under big pressure, eventually great second half gets them over the line with a 31-point victory. Players depleted Schalk's team this weekend. No Cowan Dickey, no Currans, 5 20-year-olds on the bench. Their scrum was going backwards. They were put under pressure aerially in the aerial kicking game, kicking predominantly on Rico Ioane. Hugo Keenan was exceptional. He sort of filled that void later on. Sale Sharks had nothing to offer on attack, and halftime it's 7-3. They then get a yellow card at the back of it. Dan de Cree was reasonably good. Job from Millen played really nicely for them as well. And you think, geez, Leinster might have to work hard for this, which eventually they did. They scored 40 points. But it's just that the error rate at the moment that robs them of that relentless attacking threat that they normally have. You see a lot of errors in around set piece. Obviously, doesn't help that their scrums under pressure, but just plain handling errors. And you don't know how much of that is because they're so reliant on like a Gibson Park for rhythm and shape. And that their number 10s at the moment, sort of just a cog in the wheel. Like they don't really dictate how we're going to play, when we're bouncing down the blind side. It's all sort of on the back of Gibson Park. So, I mean, that team, again, you sit with a team sheet on the weekend and you look at out of the 23, 21 internationals, and on top of that, amazing internationals, you lose James Lowe, Rico Ioane fills in on the wing. It's unbelievable the depth they've got. So you can't see Toulon hanging tough with them and actually outlasting them over 80 minutes. In saying that, the nice thing for Toulon and their mindset is they're out of the top 14, they're 11th. So their singular focus is, let's go beat Leinster. And that can start today. And that's when teams are in that mindset, you always got a chance.
Sculler, your old favourite Tommy O'Brien also just enhancing his value as a player, scoring some nice tries again on the weekend.
He's my absolute favourite. He just doesn't give up any chase, any fight. If it wasn't for him in that first half, it was a bit of a snooze fest, to be honest. But whenever he touched the ball, whether that's a counteract or still, there's some energy.
Some excitement.
Some excitement. He almost is a lot like Carl Steyn at the moment. Same with Glasgow this weekend. They battle for gain line. They sort of shuffle it to Carl Steyn, and all of a sudden, there's a half break where he just looks like he's so hungry for it. And Tommy O'Brien's in an exceptional form. Yeah, he's their best player at the moment.
Yeah.
Perfect, guys. We're just going to do a quick 2-minute Challenge Cup roundup. Exeter Chiefs beat Benetton Rugby 44-41. Dragons, Dragons beat Zebra 35-32. Ulster advanced 41-24 over La Rochelle. Ulster and the URC, we need to talk about them. And then obviously, Jean, you mentioned it, Christopher Ridley, Montpellier victory, 3 yellow cards to Connaught players, including a yellow card and a penalty try in what looked like a carbon copy scenario from the Stormers game last week, where he dramatically refused to do the same. Is that why we felt so hard done by last week?
Do you think he watches the show? And I felt guilty.
Yes, he does.
I remember, and this is not now bringing up some old ghosts, but we lost the game for sealing off trying to close the game out, Springbok game. The very next weekend, same referee, there was 5 minutes where a team in the Premiership closed the game out without blowing the ceiling off. And same with the Stormers. You look at that, it's a penalty try, yellow card every single day of the week. If he said it was a Stormers player and no one gets a yellow card, he makes a bad decision. He yellow cards the player who made the offence, but then refuses to give the penalty try off the back of it. A week later, we tune in, we watch Montpellier, and the same thing happens, and here we go. All of us go, Christopher Ridley, what's happening? Penalty try, yellow card.
Shocker.
So you know what's my bugbear, Shimmy, is we have all the, and I said it last week, we have all the technology, we have the 4 officials on the field, and then we get it wrong. And the inconsistency in that as well. So last week it didn't happen, this week it happens. And then there's dead silence. Then there's no explanation why or why not. I think that is what really kills the game. And again, this is not a go at the individual. It's a go at the system in that we need to get it right so that the right results eventually, happens during games. And another example of that on the weekend is actually for me, and maybe I'm wrong, but hear me out, the Bordeaux Toulouse game, where Intermac kicks a Ramos kicks a fantastic 50-22. It bounces. Biel Beret chases it. Biel Beret, the ball bounces. The ball is not out yet. Biel Beret touches the line. Okay, so he's out, but he hasn't touched the ball yet. His next step is inside the field of play. He plays the ball back. Okay.
Yeah.
And Carly, who I think is a really good ref, says no. My TMO says, this is what happened. So it's out over there. It's a 50-22. He watches it on the big screen and says, "Oh, great call." So you have the technology, you've slowed it down, and they get it wrong. So do we not understand the rules? Are we incorrect when we say that should not have been the case? Or is it just, or are they just incompetent? That's the second question to it.
And it becomes, for the players, it becomes a trust issue because, Bill Beret goes to him and says, "Sorry, I was in the field of play." Same with the Stormers players the week before. He goes, "Okay, but surely if he gets a yellow card, it's a penalty try." And he should have just get shoved on the outside saying, "We watched it, it's been called. It's a good call." And unfortunately, viewers, we sit in the background and we're going like, "Well, that's not the correct call. So how can you just, shove the player to the one side?" And to John's point, there's got to be some accountability. And so many times, if you lost the game or a bad decision was made, I would be way more comfortable if the referee or the match officials as a whole come out and say, "You know what, we got it wrong.
It was me." Yeah.
Yeah, let's just clear the air. I was wrong. You'll be forgiven. You will go like, "That was a terrible call." But we'll go like, "Partner, we will make mistakes." I mean, geez, we make mistakes plenty as rugby players. But the fact that it's so quiet and then you go, like, what's happening? And then a week later, the right decision gets made in a game that, should have happened in your game.
What's the thing, Schalk, is that it confuses the viewer. It confuses Joe Soap, who wants to get into rugby. Rugby's already a complicated game, and now that happens, and it's just, you just don't understand. We don't understand.
It doesn't confuse them. It confuses us, who's watching, 4 games a weekend, and we can't keep up and understand why.
Well, John, you got that top wrong today, so people always get things wrong. And those wireless.
Yes. Can we get?
So we've got the.
Can we get to the prediction? Can we get to the prediction?
I thought it was one of those zippers. Yeah.
Exactly. He's not. He's wearing the sling. He's not wearing the sling. We'll talk about the shoulder later.
I'm not. Here's my sling.
URC preview, guys. Okay, cool. Dragons versus Bulls. The Bulls need a bonus point win, probably away from home to. Well, they'll finish top 8, but they need. Well, hold on. They've got, if they start losing, they're actually at risk. They actually need to get a bonus point win away from home against a tough Dragons team.
How was that conversation with yourself there, Shami? You asked questions, then you answered yourself.
The rhetorical. This is called a Chippie's rhetorical little section. Answer. Ask everything in one go. I think that the Bulls, I know they're on tour, but they've actually got if you look at their fixtures, they've got a great run in. It starts with this weekend with Dragons, who's been super competitive. If there's a weakness for me about the Bulls, it's the way they defend, and it's sort of almost a lack of detail in their defense. But they're a good side, the Bulls, and I think they're actually in a good space at the minute. So I would back them. I don't know if they're good enough to get a bonus point. Also, Wales, whether it can be a slugfest out there.
We got to support our boys, all 4 teams, to get victories.
Stormers versus Connaught. Connaught arrive in Cape Town following a mid-season resignation of head coach Pete Wilkins, and it will be without Bundy Aki. Players, can the Stormers exploit a team in turmoil?
Are they in turmoil though? Wasn't Lancaster? Is Lancaster the director of rugby at?
Yeah, could be director. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So he probably takes control of most of it. In any case, so I don't think it's a team in turmoil. Can the Stormers beat them? Definitely they can, with all the emotion around Chippie, etc. Yeah, I'll definitely go for a Stormers win and a convincing one in that.
Now I've got to go Stormers. Should we have allowed to say anything about the Stormers? The only thing I would say, and I'll keep it nice and brief, is when the Stormers play against a side who's recently lost a coach, like the Sharks, they don't get results.
Oh, there you
Are
go.
you calling it?
spoil everything.
I'm not calling it. I'm just saying.
You're just insinuating.
Yeah. The last time this happened, we lost 2 weekends in a row against the Sharks. JP Peterson.
Yeah, I think what happens now, this stage of the season, it's do or die. That's why Edinburgh was so good against the Stormers. Because it was literally, if they don't win that game, they're out the mix. I think Connacht are probably in a similar position where they need to win this to get into the top 8. So we'll talk about another team that needs to win, Lions against Glasgow at the home of Rugby, Ellis Park.
That's going to be a nice game. I think that's going to be a very entertaining game, and I'm again backing the Lions here. I think they're on a nice trajectory at the moment. With a bit of rest, Glasgow coming off a disappointing loss. I'm going Lions.
Yeah, Glasgow goes well in South Africa, though.
They do.
And against South African side. Franco Smith, he knows how to beat South African sides. I really want the Lions to win this one because they've got a brutal end to their season. They go away and play Leinster. So if they want to make the top 8, and I think they're going to come to a head with the Sharks for that 8th spot, I've got to back them for a win. And if they do win, they'll get a bonus point because it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a 40-pointer.
Ospreys versus Sharks. JP Peterson is they expected to welcome back Sia Kolisi, Bongi Monambi. Can they ignite for the final charge?
I don't think they're going to ignite, Shemaine. I think they're just gonna suffocate and strangle. You know, you get those guys. It's almost like fighting Dricus du Plessis, or more importantly, like this new guy that wrestled him for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Like Kamzat. They're gonna Kamzat. Who they playing against? Ospreys.
Ospreys, yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna wrestle them for 82 minutes.
Okay, JDV, your thoughts? Can they ignite?
Comes out. They're going to come at them.
They're going to come at Ospreys.
Yeah. I think nice on tour together all the time as a squad. JP as coach. First time that they're on the road. I think sometimes a team like that unites in those circumstances. And let's hope that they unite and ignite on the weekend. The Sharks.
So Glasgow's a different one. Let's just go back out the Champions Cup now. So the big dogs. I thought what they might do if they'd won this weekend, rest some of their frontline players, and then bring their big dogs for the Stormers the following week. So that plan's gone out the window now. It's the hunt for URC's on.
Yeah, they've got to finish top, and the big threat for them is Leinster. Leinster's it's the sleeping giant in that top 3. So yeah, they'll come here with everyone on board, which is lovely for us as South Africans. There's a high quality side traveling at a nice time where rugby season is sort of peaking in South Africa. Everyone's taking interest. The schoolboys season has had a lot of big upsets and big results over the past weekend. So that will draw great crowds for South Africa. But for the Lions, it's becoming a massive fixture. As I mentioned previously, their finish is brutal. And you think the Sharks, if they get a good tour under the way, they're finishing Benetton Zebra at home. That's 10 points. And then everyone's going to hover sort of around that 53, 54 mark, which traditionally for us is like sort of number 6 to 8 in the URC.
Sherry, I'm challenging all the Lions supporters out there in and around Johannesburg to come out, go to Ellis Park, support your team, get them in that top 8, get that win over Glasgow.
Yeah, we need them there.
There we go.
Yeah, guys, the Betway section. Okay, we chose Bordeaux versus Toulouse. And to be fair to the both of you, you were incredible. I was terrible. So, Jean, you guessed the winning team and points margin victory, as it can be within 3 points. You predicted 14 and it was 15. 5 out of 10 points, JDV. Scala, right winning team, man of the match, Maxim Luku, the Oracle, Schalk. So you get 4 out of 10 points. I predicted everything wrong. So I have no points. So I have to do the fort for John. You have to tell me what my punishment is.
Oh, really? Do I have to? Oh, that's very disappointing for you. No, Shimmy, what we've decided is that, so next week we are on a virtual call again. So we've got the virtual episode next week as well. You will be doing it in a Paarl Gym jersey.
I love this.
next week.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to get one that fits. Okay, I'll do it.
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's fine.
okay.
John, can you?
You will be doing it.
Yeah, we can't put him in one of our jerseys, so he'll have to get a supporters jersey there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need one of the old
Shimmy,
cotton ones, not these tight fit
you-
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be doing it in a Paarl gym tent.
Okay.
So, and you will also be singing a Paarl gym song.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll learn that. Or I know enough Paarl gym guys outside of YouTube. Okay, guys. Okay, we've got to get back to URC. We've predicted the outcomes of the games. Betway match of the weekend. This up and coming match this weekend. Sorry, we need to do that. Winning margin, man of the match, first try scorer, and winning team.
For which game
So
is
we
this
need
now?
to pick a match of the weekend.
Lions Glasgow.
Okay, Lions Glasgow, agree with that?
Yeah, like a one. Now it becomes
Player of
interesting.
the, okay, winning margin.
I'm going Lions by 5. High scoring game. 40-35 to the Lions.
Okay.
And my player, Mahashi.
Ooh,
For
I
first
like
try.
it.
For first try.
No,
Stella?
that's man of the
First.
match.
For man of the match. Impact player. Is that what we got to
Okay.
pick, or got to
Yeah.
pick first
But-
try?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and first try, man of the match, sorry, Scala?
Mahashi.
Okay. JDV?
No, what you can go, Shimmy.
Okay, winning team. I'll also go Lions by 3 points.
Okay.
Man of the match, if he's playing as Krappies, because when he
Yes.
plays well, they do well. First try scorer, I'll go with Quan Horn. And yeah, that's it. Winning margin, I said, 3 points. That's it.
I also wanted to go Kieran Horn. I'm going to go Kieran Horn, man of the match. I'm going to go Lions to win by 8.
Yes. Ooh, yes, here we go.
And
Lions to win.
Yeah. And I'm going to go first try. I am going to go with, I don't know. Let me think about it. Let me think about it.
How long do you have to think about it? Listen, I
I
can't
don't
wear.
know.
Okay, the Paarl Gym jersey. They have to wear the whole shirt.
Angelo Davids. Just go Angelo
Yeah, that's a good
Davids.
one.
Angelo Davids is a good
There we go.
call. Or will it be a mall try? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Ron Fenter's
Um,
not a bad one for man of the match.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. I'm going to go whoever starts at hooker for the Lions to score the first try.
Cool, guys. Thank you very much, boys. Thanks for today. Gentlemen, in the words of Chippie Solomons, thank you very much. May his soul rest in peace. Old Chippie, and condolences to his family, as you mentioned, Jean de Villiers. Thank you very much, chaps. Be that it may, in the words of Chippie Solomons, I will see you guys next week in a Paarl Gym jersey. Thanks, Scala. You can see at the Scaliano. Happy birthday once again, JDV.
Thank you, guys.
We're gonna call the fashion police to Paarl. Yeah.
I get to sign this one off, Shimmy. Happy birthday to Scala today. Happy birthday to you, Shimmy, on Friday. May it be a fantastic day and fantastic years for you two fantastic gentlemen.
Oh,
Thanks, guys.
thank you so much, Johnny.